seconds. I just realised I'm wearing these fucking headphones. I was wondering, why do I feel attached to everything? There we go. That's it.
I know, so I was going to start doing home workouts and all, and my back was, I hurt my back, and then my fucking arm decided that it didn't want to straighten out, so.
I know it was a hard Christmas and all, like, but.
You know, you asked me what's the first thing I'm going to do when I can straighten my arm out again. What do you think?
Oh, land the bath.
Do you know what? I haven't had a bath, specifically because I have hurt my arm. I would be afraid I wouldn't be able to get out.
Yeah, all I've done in the last, 3 weeks is watch films.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else for me to fucking do. Well, obviously, I'm having to do the homeworks and shit now with the kids now, so it's kind of taxing. It's really hard, like, because you have to fucking relearn everything. I think it's just, I think if there's parents that have kids, you can tell that they don't do their homeworks with them, because the parents would be smarter, because they essentially have to go through school again with the kids, and you know what I mean, and learn the things that the kids are learning.
There was a question that came up on my mate's quiz the other night, and it was, what is A squared plus B squared equals C squared? I went,
Pythagoras.
I know, but I was going, where have I heard that before? Oh, that's Pythagoras' theorem. But then proof that you never use it in the real world.
No, sure. Name the parts of a flower.
The petals, the stem.
There you go.
The stamen.
Stamen.
That sounds slightly phallic or sexual. The stamen.
The
stamen.
Sticky when you touch it. Makes you feel ashamed.
Mine isn't.
You're just like pure.
Mine's just glad of the attention.
It's like water. Like a wee glacier mint.
So anyway, welcome to the returning String Ninjas podcast for 2021. Have we done one this? No, we haven't. This is the first one of the year.
It feels
from at an undisclosed location.
It feels like I was thinking, I was like, oh fuck, we must have done one at some stage. But the last one we did was with Gary Lutton and it was released on. Was it New Year's Eve?
Something like that.
I think it was on New Year's Eve. So like if you watch that on New Year's Eve when it was released, you're sad as fuck. So
you start your year with a bang.
But it's more like a bang, like a paper bag being inflated and popping, when you're slapping your hands. So yeah.
No, I haven't seen each other because I haven't really been allowed to, and then just fucking just
love finds a way.
Love.
Much like Jeff Goldblum, life finds a way. Here, I noticed something the other day. Have you ever seen Howard Stern and Jeff Goldblum in the same room as each other? Because I swear to fuck, they look like each other. Like I was watching. It was Jeff Goldblum reading. Do you ever see the Simpsons episode where Skinner makes the steamed hams for Superintendent Chalmers? It's like a wee skit episode,
right?
And it's he says, "No, I said steamed hams," but it's basically Jeff Goldblum reading out Skinner's lines. It's fucking hilarious, just his delivery and all. But I was just watching him and I was looking, I was like going, fuck, see if you put greasy, curly, fucking long hair on him, he would be Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Asking you to kiss your fucking sister and all. Because that's what, you ever watch this show? I've seen clips and I'm like, fuck me, who the fuck was on
Who was it famously had an orgasm on it? Was it Carmen Electra? I'm nearly sure somebody had an orgasm on it. Maybe it was Janet Jameson. Or
somebody.
I don't know. Somebody that definitely.
I doubt it was like a homeless person. You just know, here, come on to my show and fucking. To what end? What was the point? I need to see the clip in context. Was she doing it for charity?
I think there was like a
every third thrust, and she fucking gets a tenner.
No, I think there was like I don't know. Maybe it's just something I dreamt. It's possible.
Was it you that had the orgasm on the Howard Stern show?
Could well have been.
But yeah.
Nobody ever warned you about that, did they?
What?
When you were a kid, you just told women get them, but nah, fuck.
Get what?
Orgasms?
Right.
No proper like Jesus, my life's about the end. I don't know. I went all cultured. Or Jesus, my life's about the end.
By sure, she'll get it in here.
You're not warned.
I'm very envious of the female orgasm. I'll tell you why, because they'll have one and it'll be with them all day. Do you know what I mean? They'll feel that and they'll know that and they'll be like, whereas about 35 seconds after we've had one, that's it done. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just another. You're just back to square one, back to normal.
The most we can hope for is a Chinese burn.
What is it?
The most we can hope for is a Chinese burn.
It's just if they're grabbing too hard, you get one like. But yeah, that's the one sort of envy I would have of the female is that they're better looking than us for a start, but
men are stinking like women. You have low self-esteem, like you must have, because
But-
we are a brute of a species.
Well,
Like there's some munters out there and the women as well, but
the purpose of equality. We need
next
to-
New Year's resolution, just say it as it
Yeah, I
is.
said as it is.
I'm not going to be here. I may not make it to the end of the year, so fuck
I
it.
was just I'm like we were talking about it now. It's just like we're chatting over New Year's and all. I was like, I'm just so fucking glad that neither of us have to worry about anything. It is true, you know, when you're comfortable, you just flatten out into a
Yeah.
puddle. And I was like, it's happened to both of us where we were just like, fuck it, this is us. So we'll just enjoy being fat cunts now. You know?
Yeah, well, that's the best way to be, isn't it? You know,
I could be annoyed with all that upkeep. Although saying that there, looking back at the pictures, I've seen a couple of great pictures of me. And I'm not like great in the pictures. I'm just like, they're fucking horrendous. Like the state of me.
oh here, I must show you.
And that was
this.
me putting effort in.
Do you know
like.
what? I have to show you. I might see if you can pop this into the video with all your new video editing skills that you now have. Where the hell was it? Was it there? Oh, my old primary school photo. Let me see this. Pick me out.
So if anybody's listening here, Mick is showing me a primary school photo of him, and I'm
Yeah,
having to
off
try-
me, by the way. Off me.
him, you know. But the thing is, it is a class full of kids, but like he's still 35 in amongst them all.
I know it looks like. To be fair, because we're all from Ardoyne, that could well be like the recruitment for the RA that year.
you should, you're all ginger. What the fuck's up with
There's
that?
a lot of gingers. I mean, that's
I
Ardoyne.
can't,
Like,
I can't see. Where would you be? Top or bottom row?
I can't believe you can't pick me out, man.
Because
Do you know what it is? I've had a beer for that long. You forgot what my face looks like. Top left, second from left. Oh, that's me.
is that you?
Aye.
Looks
Do
not
you know what
like
we'll do?
you.
We're going to put that up. The thing is, only a couple of the
Fucking burn
faces I remember. Some of them I'm pretty sure are dead.
Well, statistically, that's
Well, here's me cooking a steak.
that's fairly taking a turn there for the.
Anyway.
Here, pick me out as a kid. By the way, here's me cooking a steak. What's
Yeah.
next?
But I know. Holy Cross Boys, I think that was circa 1989, that
To be fair, if I look like that, I'd be a crossboy too.
Yeah. I know I got sent that photo the other day by our OG sponsors, Pizza Works. I don't know where Owen got the photo from because he didn't go to my school. That's so crazy, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of sponsors, shout out to our new patron Claire. Welcome on board.
Brings us up to 300.
300.
300.
That's what we're telling the tax man anyway. No, we're not.
It's the opposite.
Yeah. Patreon. Yeah. What a weird platform.
No, I was on a weird platform the other day. I went
9
on-
3/4 of King's Cross.
I kept walking into this wall and break my nose. Fucking a lot of owls knocking about there.
Do you know what? By the
Daily
way, I
Motion.
just tried to do a plug for Patreon there, and I bowed out. I was like, I can't do it. I
It's
just
fuck.
see if you don't know by now, you'll never know. And yeah,
I don't
that's all.
even
it is.
think we should mention anybody. Just leave it to the end, and we'll do like a fucking thing, and I'll just put it in at the very end of the videos. And anybody that watches them the whole way through will see it. Because if you're not watching them the whole way through, you're not fucking interested.
No.
I mean, so what's the point in even doing it?
Anyway, so you were saying strange platform.
Daily Motion. I
Yeah,
was on that. I was like, what the fuck? Because I noticed, I sit and watch a load of YouTube streamers and whatnot, and people that are putting regular content up. And one of the ones was there's this guy, and he rates programs and he reacts to them and all that sort of shit. And he's very funny. The after work reactions, he does like Father Ted. He's a married guy, so he's not exposed to these sort of things. But he was saying like, if the thing's over an hour long, like if it's a film. If it's over an hour long, I have to put it on Daily Motion. So he's like, fuck, I have not been on Daily Motion ever. Like, I've always known what it
Yeah.
was. But I was like, fuck, I'll go and throw up a load of, I'll sign up to a quick thing, throw up a load of our fucking videos and just leave them there and see what happens. They don't really check in there. Mate, it's the burst fucking platform I've ever seen. I went onto it and it was literally like, created the account. So it was basically like your username and your email, and that was literally it. They sent you an email and you signed out, you verified, and it was like, so I went, right, I'll go and set up the profile here properly and do all the, I'm thinking that you would do like you would do with like YouTube and fucking thing. You put up your thumbnails and you do your there's literally nothing there. It's like you have a username and an email and that's it. There's nothing there at all. So it's like, does that like, but where's the channel aspect of it? Is it like, did I just fuck these out? And that's them, they're just floating about there. There's no real centralized place. But it was like very, very strange. And it's kind of weird because I think we're getting so used to like, Because I seen the other day, Twitter's now started doing stories.
Fleets,
So-
that's been up for about 2 months now.
Yeah, so
And it's wank.
but
They're
it's
really
exactly
bad.
the same as
Aye.
Instagram now, and Instagram's exactly the same as fucking thing. And then YouTube has
Are
fucking
you,
stories.
you on
now.
LinkedIn? Have you ever used LinkedIn?
I did.
You understand what it is?
It's people who like to wank over each other and tell
Well, it's a
everybody who-
professional place if you're going for
I'm
a
on
job.
it. It's not professional.
No, I'm on it too. But has stories now as well. And I'm like, can we all just have one platform?
It does one thing.
And the thing is, there's one guy that owns most of them. Just make the one. And then sure, obviously WhatsApp have now lost a load of users.
Oh, because
I've moved over to Signal too.
because of the thing. See, I was reading up on that, and it's more for commercial use. So
No,
it's
I
not
knew
your
that,
data. It's
but still.
it's random people. It's the company's data and all. I couldn't give a fuck. I'm not sending stuff that needs to be decrypted.
No.
Do you know what I mean? That's the thing is, I'm not going here. Meet me at the docks for Operation Red Sparrow to fucking commence. Do you know what I mean? I'm sending you a picture.
Is there a red sparrow? Does a red sparrow exist? I always thought a sparrow was a blackbird.
Mate, this isn't an encrypted line, so fucking keep on talking to you. The fucking CIA.
The big conspiracy.
Will be at the
This is
door.
what Q's really interested in. Whether or not there's a red sparrow in the works.
Q Radio, is he part of it? Is that part of the empire? QAnon Radio, fucking.
Oh my God, Kate Conway's the head of it all.
So there you
Jesus.
go. She's been putting out.
Kate's our mate, sure. Kate loves us.
Q is actually he works in a deli in the city centre, and that's where he gets all this information from. So he hears executives slobbering about each other.
Here, my auntie's partner, he's a Glaswegian lad, and his name's Hugh, right?
QAnon, would that
Hugh,
be?
no, but this is the thing. When I first met him when I was probably 12 or 13, and he was introduced to me as Q, and I was like, all right, his name's Q. And then it was only when I got older, I was like, nobody else is called Q, but my mum and my auntie, everybody in my family calls him Q. And I've said to them, you do know his name's Hugh. I'm like, but we say Q. Why? That's just what we say. I'm like, but that's not
fucking
good enough.
stupid.
Speak properly.
It's like, what if you had to say, right, my name's Shane, you went, right, cunt. Your name's cunt. That's what we say. Just that's stuck with you for the rest of your life.
What was it? My ma said something the other day. She said till instead of two. I want till instead of I want to. And I was like, your son is an A-level English literature. He's a head of department near enough. And you talk like that? You talk like a president?
There's a couple of things Fanula says, and I can't even remember them off the top of my head. But it's like, when she says something, I'm like, it just makes me like wince a wee bit. Like don't get me wrong, I say shit all the time.
Well, you swear a lot, but you speak properly.
Yeah, no, but there's been sometimes like, like when you mispronounce a word that you've been doing, that you've been mispronouncing it for years. Like
I know none of what you speak.
no, well then that must be good. Either you're not paying attention, or I'm actually very good.
No, you are. No, you do speak properly. You're quite eloquent.
Eloquently. But there was a couple of things she says.
Eloquent for a Brillo.
She goes to me like, do you know what one thing? Do you mind? Instead of can you remember? Do you mind that time?
Yeah,
I always get that. I'm like,
boxing,
going,
man.
what the fuck? So there's a good one in the comments. If wherever the fuck this
Yeah.
is, what's the
Well,
weird,
we've already got the
weird
title
shit?
of this episode.
Do you mind?
Do you mind? No, it's just bad language.
Bad
skills.
language. But I do you know anything about? Can you think of any fucking stupid things, sayings? That don't
That's
make sense.
funny.
Do you mind?
that
It's
is,
just,
yeah.
do you mind that time? Blah 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 blah. It's like I don't know what you mean by that.
I mean, there's certain aspects of me. Like, I lived in England for nearly 10 years, so my accent did have to soften, and I lost a lot of the slang. I didn't say I or nah. I do now, but it's just because you're surrounded by it.
No, I think it's like it's whenever I say like we do even in other English speaking countries we do have to fucking really like like a Manx not going to come over here and completely start to change their fucking way they speak. They're going to speak the way they speak.
Yeah.
Whereas when we go over, like the amount of complaints I got from Scottish people saying about they couldn't understand me.
You speak too fast. No, you listen too slowly.
That's it. You know, you fucking upgrade your RAM in your brain, would you?
I know. I have people like that do my nothing. And it's funny actually. I was watching Still Game yesterday, which by the way is one of the greatest sitcoms of all time.
I just can't get into it. I like the clips of it. I
adore it.
It's
It's
like
so
you said
good.
about that Joe Rogan. It's I see the clips and I'm going,
Yeah.
that's enough. I can't watch that.
I'm watching. It's the last season. I never actually watched the last season when it aired. It's on Netflix now, so I'm just working my way through the episodes. It does feel a wee bit like if they're just making it because they feel like they're like, right, we'll have to stop it now.
Aye.
It does have a sort of an air of that about. But there was two wee Neds. Neds are what we call Smicks.
Okay.
And they were talking, and I legit. I was like, I have to put the subtitles on here because I can't understand.
Like watching Ramsey Nesbitt for the first time.
It was It was bad. Like, I was listening. I was going, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
I always remember my man watching Ramsey Nesbitt and her laughing her pollock off. But I genuinely was listening to him going, like, I must have been what? I must have been like between 5 and say 12. I can't really pinpoint the exact time, but that's about the time. But like I seen like clips of it, and you can understand them perfectly.
Aye.
And you're like, fuck the difference in between.
There was a good documentary on BBC iPlayer there about, there was a Scottish sketch show called Only an Excuse. And it was your man John. He's an impressionist. He was on. Do you remember Chewing the Fat and all way back in the day?
So I'm not rubbing around my
But,
dick. The thing fell off the bottom of this. So
you lost your ring piece.
Lost my ring piece.
But I know it's Only an Excuse was a football show. That's where Alistair McGowan famously got his big break. And as this guy, he just did like famous, like mostly Scottish football personalities, like Sir Alec Ferguson and people like that. There, fucking hilariously, really, 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 really funny. Proper Scottish institution. And I've two ex-girlfriends who are both Glaswegian, and that was kind of the one thing in common the two of them had, was just the love of that. One was a Celtic fan and one was a Rangers fan, but they both loved that show because it properly like united it, because it took the piss out of everybody. Nobody was safe, and it was almost like an honour if you were mentioned on it and an impression.
Not like Spitting Image where it's like, oh for fuck's sake.
To be made the new I cannot like, so Spitting Image has ruined like it for me. I love it so much. Ruin politics because
no,
it's not
sort
that.
Of doing it itself,
but it's just every time I see the different politicians, every time I see Matt Hancock come on to do a briefing, I'm like, Matt, go hide behind a tree, would you?
Oh no, just jump in the fucking sea.
Or Michael Gove comes on, and because the way they have Michael Gove done up, his cheeks are like testicles, and his nose is in the shape of a cock, and it's brilliantly done. And then you got Priti Patel, who's a fucking vampire. There's a really good scene with Michael Gove and Priti Patel. She's running like an S&M type brothel thing, and Michael goes in there, and he's getting all the treatment by Priti Patel, and she's like, "So what service would you like today, Michael?" And he's like, "Unpopular opinions that only you can say because you're not white or a man, and that's why we employ you." And she's like, "Refugees don't deserve our help." And then he's just sitting there jacking off, and it's so funny. And she's like, "Abortions. Why have sex in the first place?" And things just, but it's like because she's a woman, she's allowed. That's the way the Tories' mind works. Is because that's
the way most
Asian and a woman,
works,
she can say stuff like that. There, like, oh my god, it's so funny. But it now means if I ever switch on the news, that I am just so. It's my first thought, even like with Trump and stuff. Because see the Donald Trump character in Spitting Image. I remember watching an episode of it with my mum and dad. Excuse me. And it's when Trump has to leave. So Trump's leaving office and Biden's coming in, and he's going around and he's packing away his things, and they play a little bit of sad music because he looks at like a painting of who was it? Abe Lincoln. There was a painting in the Oval Office, and he's like, "Where did I go wrong?" And they play sad music, and no word of a lie, my mother, who despises Donald Trump, went, "Oh," like she had sympathy for him. I was like, "That's how brilliantly written this thing was." This asshole.
How the fuck could you know, like after all that, how the fuck could you?
I know, and then I looked at her and she went, "Oh, the fuck!" What?
Because the thing is, she sees it as a puppet rather than what it represents.
The genius of it. It's all about the writing, and again, you know what I mean. But that's the whole thing of how the media portrays anybody. They'll give you a line or a storyline and go, "Well, that's what it is." You know.
Here, speaking of bad writing. You seen my rant on fucking thing? Back to the Future.
Oh, right, okay.
Back to the Future 2. Right. Back to the Future 2.
Let me lube up the vocal cords.
I love Back to the Future 2, or should I say I did love it, until I realised how fucking pointless a film it is. Like how obviously pointless it is. Okay. Because there's so much Marty gets the blame for that is completely Doc's fault.
Sure, have you not seen the episode of Big Bang Theory whenever they realise that Indiana Jones should never have been made?
Well, it's essentially that, because like, see, right, so in the first one you could be forgiven because you could argue the point that everything that goes wrong is a result of Doc creating the time machine, and you're like, well, yes, that's fair, but obviously the first one is he makes the time machine unaware of the implications of it at the time, and the whole thing is about him he learns his lesson by the end of it, and everything works out, and that's fine. But the second one, every single aspect of what goes wrong in that film is blamed on Marty buying that stupid fucking book, right? But at the same time, it's not. It's all about Doc, right? So put this. So Jenny, at the fucking start of, by the way, spoilers, the film is like 30 fucking years old. So like, if you haven't seen it, that's kind of on you.
What's wrong with you?
You should go back to the future.
For fuck's sake.
But yeah, so my point was, right, so Doc, they're sitting there kissing. They've literally been together for 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Because Marty's just woken up from the previous adventure. Doc's been away for fucking years, for all we know, because he's in a time machine.
Yep.
So he's had kip and rest and everything. So basically, he turns up in the fucking DeLorean all souped up and kitted out and all. And he's like, right, you gotta come with me. She's standing there and he goes, right, your fucking kids are wabs, right? We need to go sort this shit out. Bundles both of them into the fucking car and takes off, and then goes on about not needing to know about your future because it leads to bad fucking things. All the while, comfy as fucking Doc Brown read the note in the first one that says he gets shot, and that's how he fucking survives. So he's a fucking mixing bastard. He's sitting saying to Marty, "You're not allowed to know this shit," but even though it saved my fucking life, you know. So there's fucking one thing, right? Biff. So when they take off in the DeLorean to fly off to the future, Biff comes out of the house and he's like, what the fuck? A flying car? Must be going mental. So then, fucking in the future, the old Biff, who's the same as that Biff that was in the thing, sees the fucking car flying again and puts 2 and 2 together. So if Doc Brown had never have fucking turned up, Biff would never have seen the car in the first place and went, here, I'll steal that fucking book and go back. So there's plot holes number 1 and 2 there. Fucking, I'm going to go on here. This is an hour and a half long podcast, right?
I'm going to...
You just work away, right? I talk directly to the camera here. Yeah. So then I was also thinking about it. So we've done Biff, we've done thing. He also says, right, Doc Brown goes, make sure you don't bump into yourself in the future because that could start a fucking paradox and blah blah blah, this, that and the other. So after dumping your woman in a fucking alleyway, right, she gets picked up by a house and brought home. So instead of him going, I'll go and sort this shit out, he goes, Marty, you need to go into your fucking house in the future and possibly see your kids and yourself and your fucking future wife and all. So he's a fucking dildo. But yeah, the whole film fucked me off. Okay. The third one's just to be honest, the ending of the second one's the only good thing because he got struck by lightning. The only thing I would say I could change about that was forget the car and just have him being struck by fucking lightning. Right. Okay. And then that would have been Marty's life fucking sorted.
All right. My retort. Christopher Lloyd is an international treasure. So shut the fuck up, leave him alone, right?
No. He
did
did 2 good films. And he was Adams. He was Adams. He was good in that. Not a problem with Adams' family.
Regarding the plot, let's put aside the fact that it is a trash movie and one of the greatest of all the trash movies.
I'd say I loved it.
I do too. It's a staple of my childhood. I will say this. He couldn't just turn around and say, regarding the kids, he couldn't just say to them there and then, right, see when you have kids, keep them in line, because obviously
on this date
they couldn't be trusted to grow up and become good parents. So he had to take them from that time to go and fix the kids. So even when they got older and their kids were going down the wrong path, they'd always still intervene.
But that's not the way time travel works, you see, because you see that
I've watched Bill and Ted.
See the whole way it's all about that going back in time and changing shit.
Yeah.
That doesn't change the stuff in your future. That creates an alternative timeline and changes the stuff in that future because your future has already happened. So therefore, everything for your future to have happened to exist still has to have happened in the way it does. Hitler will always come to power in this reality and always do what he did, regardless if you went back and killed him when he was a baby. That would skew off in the another timeline, and that's the way it works. But he could have went down and says, listen, do you know what it is? Your fucking son, he's a bit of a twat. When you find out you're having a fucking son, just get rid of it. Just you go down there and you do your thing. Or if you say, like, here, see on this fucking date, your dickhead of a son is going to fucking try and rob somewhere. See when that date comes in, hit him a dig in the face and keep him in the house for a couple of hours. And that would have been it fucking sauced. And that would have been it, no problem.
Anyway.
No, not anyway. We're sticking on this. You've opened up a can of fucking worms here. Yeah. But here, do it.
Anybody else at home listening to this going, Jesus, my head's... People are switching over to fucking
Back to the Future.
Blind Boy, because it makes more sense.
Well, actually, I think me and him would have a good talk about fucking Back to the Future and the applications. But here's the one final gripe I've got with the film, right? And it's not right at the start, but do you ever see when Griff, the punky cyberpunk fucking guy, the Biff's grandson,
Yeah.
when he's about to fucking fly off and smack your man with a baseball bat and he jumps into the water, he tells his 3 mates to clip onto his fucking board. Why? What are they gonna do? Are all 4 of them gonna smack him at once? None of them had fucking bats. They were literally just getting towed along for the crack.
It was because of the scene in the first film wherein they're all in the car together.
Aye.
He's still the leader of his gang. That's why they had to
but
clip on.
but then
It's
it also
symbolism,
shows
Gavin.
you that he's a fucking thick as shit.
Mate, peel the onion.
Well, here the thing is about onions, they make you fucking cry.
Peel the shallot.
Feel the shallot. There's shallot going on with this fucking film.
Peel the Roscoff. I'm just naming onions here.
But yeah, fucking. So yeah, Back to the Future. I loved it. I loved it as like one of my favorite films growing up. But it was the more and more I was watching it, and the more I was thinking, I was like, Doc Brown, like, see, if Doc Brown hadn't have shown up at all, things probably would have been sweet.
Okay. Do you think the Back to the Future film franchise was a conspiracy by DeLorean owners so they could hike up their prices?
No, because I think the whole point of them bringing the DeLorean in at all is to make fun of DeLoreans.
Also-
because he says in the first film, why not make a time machine that has a bit of style and class?
Yeah.
And Marty's like, the fuck are you talking? It's a stainless steel car, you
No.
dick.
Actually, I think I've mentioned to you before that originally it was meant to be a fridge. The time machine was meant to be a fridge, but then the producers were like afraid the kids would watch the film and then think they could get into their fridge in the house. And it would be a time machine, so they were like, "I will make it a car."
Who the fuck's ever going to see another stainless steel car ever again? Like, so we'll be all right with that there. Right?
Oh my god!
The fridge would have been good. Like, what would happen? Would you have to set the thermostat to like -5 or something? And then, how can a fridge go 88 miles an hour? I want to know. I want to know the logistics of this.
But it wouldn't have gone 88 miles per hour. That's the thing.
But what would it have done? Do you just have to knock it over? it just fucking goes in the.
Just put it to defrost.
Go back in time to when your chalk ices weren't melted.
Oh, here, actually, speaking of Back to the Future, there's a tune from that wasn't in Back to the Future, but Huey Lewis and the News had this song. So I was listening to our man Fitzy's live stream on YouTube on Friday night, and he got a request for a Huey Lewis song, and it's called "If This Is It," and it's proper cheesy. It's as cheesy as Huey Lewis could possibly
Sounds like a
be.
love song, like a ballad.
It is a love song.
Yeah.
It's got like a shuffle in it. Man, I have last stopped listening to that song. It is fantastic. It is amazing. After we finish, I'll put it off. It's not your kind of music.
When he finishes, what he means is the soggy biscuit game we play at the end of every episode. The loser gets to eat the biscuit.
Soggy Savley.
No, it's this week's a Riva.
Arriva. It's dead on. But no, that's just what we were talking about Back to the Future. The music from it's incredible.
I'll always love the groove and the power of love. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
It's
What a great
class.
tune.
I love.
Any other film? Oh, here we were watching. See, speaking on films, like because we've been watching loads of films.
I have a great film, but after,
Right, well,
after you.
I was sitting saying about like Fiona was watching like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
And it's all like the fucking the effects and all like no expense spared in terms of the effects. But I was sitting watching them all, and there was 3 of them, and they were looking at this creature, which is obviously CGI'd in. And I was like to Fiona, I was like, I can't watch these films anymore. And she's just like, why? It's me because I know they're all just staring into space, pretending there's something
You
there.
can't suspend your disbelief. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I can't. It's just like there was a moment in it where like he was like he had to do this thing where he's like throwing out spells and all here and there.
Yeah.
And I was just imagining like the actual filming of it is just some guy like going here fucking
Yeah.
did it like I would love to see the footage without the CGI put in.
I know, like
And
that last scene in Endgame is very much like that.
Aye. See, I can't. I could suspend my disbelief in that because I was invested in it. But fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I like Harry Potter and all.
Yeah.
But it's like the Batmans, the Christopher Nolan Batmans. Like at the time, we wanted another decent Batman film, and you were happy with it, and you were like great and all. But see, when you look back at them, the whole fucking thing's wank.
Apparently, this new one is terrific
With your man
with Robert Pattinson.
Aye.
It's
Patterson?
Jamie Foxx, isn't it? As well, I think.
Is he?
I think he is. Apparently, it's really good.
I'd say, I think a very like they definitely should go back to origins, which is why I think Joker did so well,
Yeah.
because it was like the origin
Aye.
of him, and I think that's what's really good. But then see what I was talking to Fernando about this the other day. People don't realize is that by the time Batman becomes Batman, Joker's like in his 60s. Do you know what I mean? He's been running
So the
around
TV show was more accurate
for
than anybody
ages.
thinks.
I do you know what I mean? Was it what did you call your man?
Yeah,
Uh,
West.
George Romero? No, not George
Oh,
Romero. The original Joker from the. I always think of The Simpsons when I think
need
of the
to
old
Google it.
Batman.
I can't remember.
You know, the Cub Scout leader.
Yeah.
Don't forget to use your tails, boys. Zap, kerplunk.
Hey, tell you a good film I watched recently. The Gentleman by Guy Ritchie.
Okay.
Mate, of all those films, Lock, Stock,
I love
Lock, Stock kind of is out by itself. Snatch was always felt like a wee bit of a rip off of. It's because it's very very similar.
They're all formulaic.
No, they are. But I tell you what, man. See The Gentleman. It was phenomenal. I laughed my bollocks off so many times during it. Matthew McConaughey's class in it. Hugh Grant is unbelievable as the guy who basically works for the Sun or the Daily Mirror, proper trashy journalist. Charlie Hunnam's great in it. Bastard still owes me a bottle of wine. That's the story for another podcast.
The next one?
It's on Prime. I highly recommend you watching it. It is really, really, really good.
I haven't. There was. See, I've been getting more into just watching wee clips of things and like mini digests. And I always, if somebody says to me watch a new series or watch a new film,
Yeah.
I'll always watch the film because the film's done. Do you know what I mean? Like it wraps itself up and you get to digest it in one sitting rather than like fucking like Game of Thrones. Wasn't Game of Thrones was a film, and it was done. So even say by Lord of the Rings standard, it was done in 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
By the end of it, you're done. That's it, one day and it's over. Fucking 10 years we're waiting on. 10 years you were waiting on that fucking ending.
I always the example. I
were
always go back to
disappointed.
Smallville. I spent 10 years waiting to watch a man fly who I knew could fly, but I was like, I've invested so much. It would have been all right. Like I would have been happy. Like if it was after season 5 or 6 in Smallville, it just got mental. Like Lana ended up with superpowers. Like what the fuck's going on here? It's crazy. It just made no sense to me at all.
I've seen. Just realised you're kind of out of frame a bit here. Let's whack that round a wee touch.
Can't always stay focused, mate.
There we go. Look at that. Oh no.
I stay focused on the music videos, bro.
The I've seen loads of people. That's because you're bigger than me. Fuck up.
Exactly.
The WandaVision. Have you seen this?
Right, I haven't.
People have been getting. People are going apeshit about it because they don't understand the premise of it.
Yeah. I get it, and I'm really excited to watch
In
it.
the fucking. So for anybody who doesn't know about WandaVision, I have not yet to watch it. But looking at the things, I kind of know what it's based on.
Yeah.
So basically, the way Marvel work as a studio, they can't give you like the true Marvel, like the classic Marvel storylines, because they're so over the top. There's nothing really that you can believe in them.
Yeah.
So what they've done, there's a couple of different universes. People don't realize this. There's like Ultimates, which is supposed to be like, is it Ultimates or what's the other one? Come on, but there's one that's more grounded in reality, and it's more slightly darker, and that's kind of what the cinematic universe is based on. Is this sort of fucking thing? But in one of the storylines in the Marvel thing, like the Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful fucking reality warpers you can get. I think that's what the new Doctor Strange movie is going to be about. Yeah, because he takes her traveling, and I think that like awakens the powers and stuff and all. But in Marvel Comics, she's like one of the strongest reality warpers in the universe. She can fucking do whatever she wants. Yeah, and there's only like 5 or 6 people that are in that sort of category, and she's one of them. But so basically, what happens is she has a mental breakdown, and she has she had kids with Vision, because they've always had like a love interest, and then it turns out that they weren't real. So she has this like proper. So she kidnaps Xavier from the X-Men and uses his telepathy to find out exactly what everybody in the universe wants as their, like ideal reality.
Yeah.
Basically gives it to them. And so she basically does that, and Wolverine's the only person that knows the difference. He's like, what the fuck? So he goes to like Emma Frost, who's like a telepath, and he's like, this is what the crack is. And she's like, starts waking everybody up and all. So basically she finds out that whenever enough people muster up, they realize that this reality is not the reality. Like Spider-Man's still married to his missus, and Uncle Ben's still alive, and all this sort of shit. So, and then Hawkeye finds out he's not supposed to be alive, and it's like, oh, that's no mad shit. Like, so basically what happens is they go and they get Wanda, and so what happens is Magneto is Wanda and Quicksilver's dad in the comic books. So Magneto finds out that Quicksilver fucking like sort of put her up to this in a way. He was like, "Oh, you can make everything better and all this here." So Magneto kills Quicksilver, and because Wanda and Quicksilver are fucking best buds, twins, I think they're twins. She fucking freaks and just wipes out all the mutants. There's only like 128 left in the whole of Marvel. They're all gone, like. But people don't realize that whole fucking thing about WandaVision is her. This is what I'm assuming it's about. Like I'm gonna wait until. But people are like, they're tying Endgame to this series, and they can't. This is how does that get from here to here?
Yeah,
whereas it's like they're taking storylines out of it now, but it's fucking as a concept, it's very interesting. So I like to see.
I like the it's even the whole 50s. That whole 50s black and white sitcom thing, that element to it.
What was it? Really Genie? Funny. Everybody Loves Genie or something they call that there. Fucking, it has that sort of thing.
I know, actually, I think I will watch it today. Right, where are we? We are at the
35 minutes, so we'll wrap it up here for now. Wrap it up now. And then we'll see us in the next one. So we'll take it easy.
Peace and love, patreon.com/stringninjas, onlyfans.com/stringninjas, pornhub.com. No, we're not, but sure, get people looking.
There's pictures of my balls there, but you have to pay $29.99 to see them.
Yeah. I